10 tips to get an 8+ band score in your IELTS reading module. Tip 1. Manage your time well. You get 60 minutes, which is 1 hour, to complete 40 questions that are divided into 3 parts. So any reading test would have 3 parts, and the level of difficulty keeps increasing from part 1 to part 2 and then part 3, which means the part 1 is the easiest and the part 3 is the most difficult one. Now here, the strategy that one can use is to not spend more than 15 to 20 minutes on each of the parts. The easier parts could take about 15 minutes and the more difficult parts could take about 20 or 25 minutes in worst case scenarios. Now, how could you probably manage your time well if you're not able to complete those 40 questions in 60 minutes in your practice sessions? One way of going ahead with this that has worked for my students is to start with the last part or the most difficult passage. Complete it first because that's when you're most fresh and you have the most concentration power, and then you complete the most difficult one, move on to the part 2, and then the easiest part in the end when you don't need those many cognitive abilities to solve your passage. So that's tip 1 for you. Tip 2 is to read the instructions carefully. Now this applies to any and every test that you would ever take in your life. If you don't read the instructions carefully, if you don't understand the question properly, you will not be able to get your desired band scores. So it is important that you read the instructions carefully, you understand the question, underline the keywords in the question, and think about the synonyms. Now this is one of the most crucial tips that you have to follow. If you do not follow this, you will not be getting the right answers that you need. So when we underline the keywords, we basically tell our brain that these are the words we should be looking out for in the passage. If not the exact same words, their synonyms are something that we should be locating in our passages to find the answer. Now, what are the 2 techniques that we use to do that? That is your tip 4. The 2 techniques that we use to basically find and locate the answers is to skim and scan. You must have heard of these already. I'll quickly explain what skimming and scanning means. Now, skimming is to find the gist of the passage or of the paragraph. So you read the paragraph in the passage, you understand it, and you come up with the gist, which is basically the summary of that particular paragraph or passage. Once you've understood the main idea or the gist, you move on to scanning for the keywords or synonyms in the passage. Then you start looking for or hunting for the exact same words or keywords or synonyms in the passage to find the answer. The next tip is that you can answer in uppercase or lowercase. Any of the 2 cases are allowed. You can write in capital letters, you can write in small letters. There is no issue whatsoever. However, if you've picked up one way of writing, stick to it. If you've written in the uppercase, you have to continue writing in the uppercase. If you've started off with the lowercase, continue writing in the lowercase. Now here also there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind, which are whenever you're writing proper nouns, let's say you're writing the name of a person, you're writing the name of a city, you're writing the name of a subject. In all of these cases, the first letter will be, yes, you're right, it's capital. You obviously have to write the first letter as a caps lock or a capital or uppercase because that's how we write it in the English language. There's no 2 ways about it. So make sure you write in such a way that it also follows the grammatical rules of the English language. So the easier part is to always go for the uppercase because then you don't have to think about all the grammatical rules of the English language, and even if you are not sure if one certain alphabet or letter needs to be capital, you're still good to go because you're always following the uppercase. And this usually applies for the paper-based test. In case of the computer-delivered test, you can simply copy paste the answer from the passage to the blank given, and most of your answers are in terms of drag and drop and drop down menu, so you just have to select. So it's a whole different story when it comes to the computer delivered test. Next is you have to check for meaningfulness after putting the answer in the blank. Now what do we mean by meaningfulness? Meaningfulness basically means when we put the answer in the blank given to us in the question and read the entire sentence, is it even making sense? What you're reading, is it grammatically accurate or not? We also have to check that. For example, if certain blank is followed by are, then of course the blank would have a plural in it. Okay, so plural, singular, these are things you have to be mindful of. Next is the answers appear in the same order as the questions. Let's say that the answer to question number 1 is in paragraph 1 and the answer to the question number 2 is in paragraph 2 and the answer to question number 4 is in paragraph 3. In that case, the answer to question number 3 would be somewhere between the answer to question number 2 and answer to question number 4. So you just have to read those lines or those sentences to find the answer and you shall be good to go. So this is how you have an option or an opportunity to find the right answers, or at least locate the portion, right? Locate the portion where the answer would be found. Next up is that you have to check for spellings. Now spelling and grammar, again, it's something really important. If you have not spelled your answers correctly, even if the word is correct, let's say the word is correct but the spelling is not correct, in that case again you would be marked 0. You would not be given any score. So be mindful about the spelling, and this is really easy for people taking the computer delivered test because all you have to do is copy paste it from the text, and I hope nobody goes wrong with copy pasting. And grammar, of course, English, any language is all about grammar, grammatical rules. So if you are someone who's not sure about the grammatical rules, we offer an effective communication and grammar course. You can check it out on our website. You can also call us on the number given below to know more about our effective communication and grammar course that basically covers everything that you would need to score well in IELTS, Self-Pep, PTE, TOEFL, any of these tests, and also your day-to-day English would improve, of course. Next up is don't fixate on one question, trust your gut and move ahead. If you fixate on one question, you would definitely not be able to complete all the 40 questions in 60 minutes. So if one question is taking a lot of your time, leave it and move to the next question, complete everything and come back to it in the last 5 or 10 minutes of your test. Yes, we have to save about 5 to 10 minutes or at least 5 to 7 minutes at the end of the test so that we are able to proofread, we are able to cross-check our answers, and also we are able to complete any answers that are unattempted. Now, why is it important to complete answers that are unattempted? Simply because there is no negative marking. So, if there is no negative marking, why would you want to leave a question? Take the best guess possible. Think about all the options, eliminate the ones that you think would not work out, and then pick the one that you think is the right answer. Because worst case scenario, if that's the wrong answer, you'll get a 0, and even if you leave it unattempted, you'll get a 0. So it's better that you attempt it. What if it's the right answer? You get a 1 pointer there. So these are the 10 tips that have helped my students out. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section below, and I hope you start implementing these as soon as possible and see the difference in your own preparation. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like this video, share it with your friends if you found it valuable. And we also have a playlist on guided reading practice, so start watching it and learn the strategies of all different types of questions.